Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, Barry here again. Hey everybody, Barry here again. Back at the van today, and I've got a plan that I only came up with pretty much yesterday. I want to put knock sensors in this, of course, because I've got kind of a cool thing coming up, and I would really like to know if the engine is knocking or not. To do that, I have to take the intake out, and I had the knock sensors put into the cylinder heads, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Did not work. So I got to take the intake off, and I've realized that if I'm going to spend like 150 bucks on a Trailblazer SS intake, a 4-bolt China throttle body for like 15 horsepower, when I'm trying to build this engine on a budget, which is the rat rod engine, the green one, then I may as well just put on this intake that I have shaved. And I've got a regular truck intake that I'll throw on the van for now, put the shaved intake on this engine, and if I decide to upgrade to the Trailblazer SS, I can do that a little bit later. Now she's a little bit dirty right now, but I've already got this intake shaved, like I said. Throttle cable's already on it. That's all good. Map sensor I'll just change out. It's not serious. And I just got to undo some of the wiring over here. So I'll run it in the container and get my Gen 3 truck intake, and I'll throw it on this one. But of course that'll be after I get the knock sensors in. Now the knock sensors, these are new ones, GM ones. I have plugged in the heads down here and one in the back. And the problem with that is I guess there's a lot of vibration and noise from the valve train and combustion directly in under that sensor. So every time I would touch the gas, it would pull like 8 degrees in. Obviously that's no good, because the second I touch the gas, it's definitely not knocking, and it's getting a skewed reading. So I'm gonna change them out. So let's go get that other intake. We'll pull this one off and start changing them out. So I need to change over a couple things like this throttle body, because it doesn't have an idle air control valve or anything in it. And I need to pick out some of these bolts, because this intake I stripped a while ago and took all the parts out of, because I thought I was going to throw it away, but I guess not. It's a good thing I didn't throw it away. And I had to put in this evap sensor just as a plug. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's good. And now I can undo this. So I'll pull off the throttle body first. I'll just keep this one for the rat rod. But the other throttle body is assembled at the moment, and I know all the sensors and everything work. So you can see here that the sensors aren't in this one. Now this intake has oil in it, but it's not a serious deal. Won't be long burning that off. And I need to put the throttle bracket on. Gotta find a couple small bolts for that. I've got some of these coil bolts, but that's not serious. It's just be a stud sticking up out of it. It's just got to hold the throttle. That's good. Now, nothing else needs to be plugged. The cool thing about this is where it's not shaved, these tabs here aren't broken off. None of that's cut off. So I can just pop the map sensor right down there. I'm assuming I can get it off without breaking the tabs off. That's a big maybe. Woo! Got it. I hope the other one fits there. If not, I'll just jam that map sensor back in. Now, I can plug that hose off like the other one is. And everything else is ready to go. Besides these bolts. They just pop in. And I'll take the fuel rail off of the van right now. That's already on there. And put on this one, because the injectors and everything are already in it. these bolts don't want to fit. Oh, I got all bolts in. And got this little piece of hose here that I can try and join the two pieces, both of these. I'll just join those so that they're not leaking, but they don't actually go to anything. This was just an evap thing. And one I think was for the fuel pressure regulator on the rail, but this one doesn't use that anymore. So we don't really need it. I use the Corvette fuel pressure filter / regulator on it, and that works fine. Over the winter, I'm going to try to adapt a fuel pressure gauge or fuel pressure sender into the rail and hook it up to either the AC pressure 5-volt or the fuel tank pressure sensor 5-volt, so that way I can log fuel pressure in the Caravan. Which would be really beneficial because I've always sort of suspected that I had a fuel pressure issue and I don't know yet. Because sometimes that wide open it would just kind of go lean. And I blamed it on the tune, I blamed it on a couple different things. But now really, I really think it's got a lot to do with the tank being like 3 foot wide by 3 foot, and the sending unit is pretty much right in the middle or at the back a little bit, and gas sloshing all around. And that Walbro 450, that moves a lot of gas, so I sort of blame that for leaning out sometimes, but I don't know for sure. Well, this looks fine. Throttle bracket, stupid emissions thing, map sensor hopefully will fit there. The bolts are in, and this actually looks a lot tidier than what I've got going on the Caravan right now anyway, which is right here. The hose all looped up and stuff and kinked off, kind of looks not as nice, so that's a little bit better. I'm gonna go pull this stuff off and then we'll work on knock sensors. I don't expect these knock sensors to be very easy to get out, but we'll smack the socket on there and see how it goes. Try to break the seal first. Ooh, one is coming. Oh wow, I didn't expect that at all. Woo! That's nasty. That is super. Ah, it smells like nasty oil too. Now the back one is a little bit worse. Oh yeah, it's in there. Oh boy. Probably should have done this 2 months ago. I've been dreading it. I'm like, man, those knock sensors are never coming out. But, hey. Oh, yeah. I did not expect that to come out one little bit. Well, nothing left to do but screw these in, and these are really nice. They're a little bit rusty, but nothing too serious. Not even concerned. Oh. I would have used the Gen 4 knock sensors if I had a place to put them, but at the moment, I know where to put them. You can see that I never even touched this engine. Didn't even bother with it. I was like, I don't care. It's probably gonna blow up anyway. Never painted it. Never even cleaned it. I just scraped the intake ports off and wiped them with a dirty rag. And never pulled the heads off. Nothing. And this is the engine that runs the best, of course. And that's the way it always happens. Now after I get these put in, I gotta change the tune and reactivate the knock sensors because I got rid of them. So I'll plug the rear one in again. And the front one, wherever it may have gone, here it is. I'm just going to tuck that one down around there. And now it'll tuck in under the intake manifold. And I'll be able to put the new intake on now. Much gooder. Well, the map sensor wouldn't fit back here, and I broke off one of the tabs, so I zip tied it on. And also, there's nothing to mount the map sensor to up here, so I zip tied it on. I want to make a sticker that reads, "I bet your boyfriend uses correct fasteners for his map sensor." I'll switch over to throttle bodies, and then we can install this junk. Well, the intake manifold is in, injectors, everything is hooked up, knock sensors are done and hooked up. And before I plug the coil packs back in, just had a thought. if I'm going to be doing one end of the year really big tire killing burnout, then it'd be nice to have a rev limiter. And by rev limiter, I mean let's hook it up. So my thought is, I don't want to get into fourth gear and do a burnout in fourth gear because it's probably too much drive shaft speed. It'll spit that thing out, and then I'm immobilized for the rest of the year because this drive shaft was hard enough to find. But the top of third gear, if I change my 3 to 4 shift point to some outrageous speed or RPM, and I can set this to 6,500, then it'll be in third gear, 6,500 RPM, just killing, lacing the tires. Yeah. Let's do it. Step one is going to be to mount the two-step, and I already have screws in here on the firewall. Buy screwdriver. I already have screws on the firewall because I mounted this thing before. Just got to grab my screwdriver that fell all the way down to eternity. And mount it back again. So this can be either positive or ground activated, and I'll probably just go positive activated because then it'll come on with like the injectors or the ignition or something. As soon as the ignition is turned on, then the two-step will be active because I want this rev limiter to be on all the time as soon as it hits whatever I preset it to, which is probably going to be 6,500. Now I am going to be taking this back off because it's going to go back on the rat rod. But, yeah, this shouldn't be too hard to mount at all. And these LS two-steps are the easiest. They just literally just plug into the coils. I love them so much. This is one of the wisest investments of my automotive career. Now I did see that Nivlak57, he's a YouTuber who's a lot better known than I am, made his own two-step with a shift light. And I thought, hey, I've got a $20 eBay shift light. And I got a general understanding of wiring and stuff like that, so what a neat idea. So if I do it, of course, because I video everything, I'll take a video of that and do a detailed instructional how-to in case anybody else out there wants to do two-steps and shoot flames and stuff. Which, of course, is everyone. Clickety click click, that's plugged in. And now we'll unplug it from the ground activated, plug it into the power activated wire, which again is literally the easiest thing to do on this. And I just got to find out which wire here has a positive signal going to it. I know these down here are grounds, these are positive. Yeah, I'll figure that out in a second. So I'm just going to turn the key to on. Find out which wire has power now on this side, I guess. Okay, so those all have power. The yellows down here on the PCM have power, so that's good. Trans brake one probably always has power. Now let's turn it off and see again. Okay, now. So any of the yellow wires coming out to the PCM basically work fine. And now I'll just strip and crimp. I'm just going to put on one of these small eyelet ones here. Not looking for anything major. just want to have a good connection. Then I'll test this just to be sure that the two-step is working. I'll put it at a low RPM and just floor it. Make sure everything's good. There's not a whole lot to this stuff getting it wired up and making sure it's all working correctly. If it's not working correctly, it can cause a really big headache sometimes. Okay, two steps hooked up. And right now it's set to RPM times 1,000 is 6,400. So just for a test, I'll set it to like 3,500 or something like that. And my screwdriver's too big. Alrighty, let's turn her down. Go to 3,500 RPM. I just got to hook up the throttle body again. A couple small things, nothing serious. All right, two-step test. Make sure this turns on. The light is on. It's good sounding. That's gonna be sweet. I've been working on the tune a little bit, and I got the knock sensors reactivated. They are over here. Everything's all hooked up. I dumbed down the knock sensors a little bit, took some sensitivity out of them, about 50%, so I'll work on that. Everything there is all this stuff, knock retard, everything is all pretty much stock. I set the transmission for the burnout for full throttle shift RPM. I set so 3/4 shift is 7,000, and I'm going to set the two-step to 6,400, so it'll allow it to shift first, second, third, and then at the 3/4 shift it'll stay in third gear because it won't actually reach 7,000. Now I'll just do that for the burnout because I don't want it to never shift into third or fourth gear, but I want it to stay in third. I calculated it with the tire size, rear gear ratio. In third gear it should be up around like 260 km/h wheel speed. So that's going to be a lot. Hopefully the drive shaft stays together, but we'll see. So this is all done. I'm going to go ahead now and rate this tune. And then we'll take it for a quick test drive to make sure the knock sensors are working. Well, let's see if these knock sensors work. That was a decent angle for the camera. tiny bit of knock. A couple of degrees out of it, so it's a good test so far. Now that was probably because I was hammering it on ice in a puddle. But that's not serious. It was a nice day for a drive anyway. Like 0.1 degree, 0.2 degrees, I'm not worried about that at all. I've only got 10 degrees max in it, so I doubt that it's knocking like that. I'm really hoping the two-step is going to work really well during the burnout. Now hopefully it'll focus. You can see what's ahead of us. I gotta get that shifter fixed too. A couple degrees is all I can see down low, and that's only below boost, so that's fine. I'd like to finish up the exhaust on this thing, get it out behind the wheels farther, because I'm still getting a lot of drone inside, but other than that, this is good. Get that weird lean spot figured out, but I think that's probably because I got about a quarter tank gas, like I was saying, and the gas is going all over the place. But if I roll into it slowly, it's not usually as bad. Man, I'd like to get a limited slip in this thing. Get rid of that scuffing. Bit of work to do on tune, but slowly getting there. Well, should have a little bit of data, see if there's any knock in it anyway, so that's something. Well, that was a good test drive. Everything seemed to run okay. I got to put more gas in it because it does not get very happy when I smash the throttle and there's like a quarter tank in it. So I just put the tune in, just changed up the VE table a little bit, took out the timing in the spots where it was pulling a little bit of timing, because it'd be ideal if it was only pulling like 0 degrees or 0.1, 0.2, something like that. That would be perfectly fine. But there's a couple spots there where it wanted to pull like 6 degrees. So what I'll do when I get all the gas in it, and I can go for a really good drive and try to fill in the spark correction table and get some real data. When it's not pulling any timing, I'll start adding in a degree at a time until I hit the point where it's pulling, and then maybe I'll take 2 degrees at the top end or something like that. So that's a plan for coming up, because I really want to do one really big end of the year burnout. That's why I'm doing all this preparation. Now I'm going to finish up the video here, and next one will be a little bit more maintenance. I got one caliper on the front that's giving me a little bit of trouble. It seems like when I do a burnout, it wants to pull a little bit to the left or swing the back out to the right. So I would say it's this driver's side caliper over here. And a couple more small things. Check the whole suspension, check over every nut and bolt, make sure nothing's close to the exhaust. I don't want this thing to catch fire again. That's third time, we don't need that. So I'm gonna finish it up here, and thanks for checking it out again. Thank you to the subscribers. Lots of subscribers coming around. It's really cool. Just new people. So if you got a project on the go or something ridiculous like this, like let me know, or let me know your channel name, and I'll give you a shout out on the next video, just as a thanks for checking this one out. And thanks for YouTube members and patrons. If you want to check out my Patreon, it is patreon.com/stationroadratrods, and there's a link down in the description anyway, and there's a member button here somewhere. And thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody.